Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Gabi's freedom has consequences 4.j. At the sanitarium, Paulina was pacing the waiting area when Abe arrived. What happened? Abe asked. Paulina told Abe that Chanel had suffered severe cramps and demanded to be rushed to the sanitarium. How is she? Is the baby okay? Abe asked. After a moment, Paulina said, No. The baby isn't okay at all. Johnny sat by Chanel's bedside in her sanitarium room. Chanel admitted, I did not know how important I loved having a little life growing inside me. A life that we made. I did not realize until now how important they meant to me. Johnny held Chanel's hand. I'm so sorry, Johnny said. Johnny asked Chanel if she was in any pain, and she said she felt fine. However, I'd carry you out of then right now, Johnny said, if it were over to me. Chanel smiled sorely. Since Chanel demanded to stay overnight, Johnny offered to go pick up some particulars from home. Still, do not let her in then, if you see my mama on the way out. I do not want to talk to her, Chanel said. With a nod yes, Johnny asked Chanel if he should pick up food at the cantina. Chanel scoffed. No more Jones. Chanel rumored. Chanel gripped Felicity's stuffed cat close as Johnny walked out. After Chanel sniffled back gashes, she pulled the ultrasound picture out of her bag and goggled at it. In the staying area, Paulina told Abe everything that had happened with Chanel. Chanel said the confinement was all my fault because I'd exposed her to radiation, Paulina said. Paulina cried on Abe's shoulder. Abe spotted Johnny across the hall, and he excused himself. I am so sorry, Abe told Johnny. Johnny explained that he was headed home to pick up particulars for Chanel's late stay. Perhaps I should go and sit with her, while you are gone, Paulina suggested. That is not necessary, Johnny said. When Paulina argued that Chanel shouldn't be alone, Johnny forcefully blazoned that Chanel didn't want to see Paulina. Paulina started to protest, but Johnny intruded to ask Paulina to admire Chanel's wishes. After Johnny left, Paulina lamented that Chanel was alone in a cold sanitarium room. Johnny made her wishes relatively clear, Abe said. Abe asked Paulina if the croaker had criticized the radiation as the cause of the confinement. Dr. Green said it was not likely, Paulina snapped. Also you were not to condemn, Abe said. Paulina added that the croaker had also admitted that he couldn't rule out the radiation exposure as the cause. Whatever happened with the baby, you cannot condemn yourself, Abe said. Abe reminded Paulina that Chanel had plenitude of time to start a family. That is true, but that isn't what she's allowing. Right now, all she's allowing is that if not for her impulsive, reckless mama, all would be well with that little one she was carrying. All she's allowing is that I'm the reason she lost that baby, Paulina said. Paulina blubbed. In Abe's arms. In Chanel's room, she was gaping at the ultrasound picture when there was a knock on the door. Go down. I do not want to talk to you. Chanel yelled. Abe walked into the room. May I come in? Just for a many twinkles, Abe said. Chanel apologized, and she invited Abe in. Abe put a comforting hand on Chanel's shoulder. I heard about the baby. And my heart, it just breaks for you and Johnny, Abe said. Chanel broke down in gashes, and Abe put his arm around her. When Chanel's heartbreak subsided, Abe asked her if she demanded anything. Chanel said no. Your mama, she feels terrible about what happened, Abe said. And she should, Chanel growled. With a nod, Abe noted that radiation might not have been the cause, and Chanel snapped. Would you please just stop? Okay? I know I want to hear the word radiation again. And I surely do not want to talk about my mama. Chanel yelled. Chanel pulled her hand down from Abe. Okay. Let's just sit then. Okay also? Abe said. Chanel jounced yes. At the Spectator, Eric visited Nicole at the office. I allowed You were not coming in moment, Nicole said. Eric informed Nicole that he intended to leave Salem. Why? Nicole asked. The verity is, I am leaving for my own particular reasons, Eric said. Nicole asked Eric about his plans, and he said he was staying to hear back from some job sessions. Nicole asked Eric if he was leaving city because of Jude. Eric stressed that he loved to see Jude. That is why I need some time piecemeal. To accept that he is not my son. That I am not Jude's father, Eric said. Jude started to cry. Eric asked if he could help, and Nicole jounced yes. Eric sang to Jude, who quieted down. He is smiling, Nicole said. With Eric leaned over next to Nicole, she looked into his eyes. That song generally does the trick, Eric rumored as he held Nicole's aspect. I am sure he misses you so much, Nicole said. Eric noted that Jude was lucky to have Nicole in his life. Nicole thanked Eric for his help with Jude. I do not want you to leave city. But I understand if you do. It does not mean I will not miss you, Nicole said. Eric reminded Nicole that he still didn't have a job yet. I will let you know what happens, Eric said. With a nod, Eric left. When Eric arrived at the Brady pub, Paulina was sitting at a table alone. Is everything okay? Eric asked. Not really, Paulina said. Eric asked if he could help. Paulina told Eric that Chanel had misfired. I am so sorry, Eric said. Paulina heaved when she flashed back Eric's history, and she apologized. Eric shook his head to tell Paulina not to worry. Chanel and Johnny, they must be agonized. They are. Both. Chanel, well, she blames me. And I cannot indeed be there to console her, because she does not want me anywhere near her, Paulina said. In the Demera living room, E.J. called Rafe and informed him that he'd talked to the judge, but they had refused to review Gabi's case without the black book. J. Ordered Rafe to track down Melinda and recover the substantiation. Rafe argued that the problem was that Melinda would not turn over the book until she secured an impunity deal. J. Yelled in frustration. The judge has all but agreed to capsize Gabi's conviction, but only when he sees the new substantiation and he holds it in his hot little hands, E.J. said. After E.J. ended the call, he turned to Stefano's portrayal and murmured that he wished he was an only child. J. Texted Stefan to let him know that Rafe was recovering the black book for the judge. A visibly distraught Johnny returned home, and E.J. asked why Johnny wasn't at the field. Chanel lost the baby, Johnny said. J. poured Johnny a drink, and he expressed his sympathies for the loss. Tell me about Chanel. How is she doing? EJ asked. As well as can be anticipated, Johnny said. J. started to offer backing, and Johnny bristled. Why are you being so nice about this? Johnny said. Johnny asked E.J. if his sympathy was real or if he was just relieved. Because from what I recall, you did not suppose Chanel should indeed have this baby, Johnny yelled. But you did. Johnny, you are my son. And I of you. Yes, this is real, my love for you, for Chanel. Because in the end, I want what you want, E.J. said. E.J. noted that when Johnny was in pain, E.J. was in pain. E.J. pulled Johnny into a clinch. When Johnny returned to the sanitarium, he was surprised to see Abe. Abe was just keeping me company, Chanel said. Abe smiled at Chanel. Now that you are then, I'll leave the two of you alone, Abe said as he ceded his president to Johnny. Abe kissed Chanel farewell, and he offered Johnny an observance if demanded. I just saw my father. I talked to him. It helped, Johnny said. Chanel thanked Abe for having sat with her.